Most K-pop subunits arrive with loud noises, press releases, hype videos, teasers, and trailers. MiSaMo walked in like they already own the room. The result of 8 years spent proving themselves, surviving the industry's harshest scrutiny, and finally claiming the space to show what they are truly capable of. They are the pinnacle of what TWICE has built. MiSaMo. The 20th of October 2015, TWICE debuts with. At the time, Mina, Sana, and Momo were cultural bridges rather than the center of the story. Jihyo held the leadership, Nayeon took the lines, and Suyu captured the visuals. The Japanese line, they were the supporting cast, the foundational dancers who powered the machine. Mina brought balletic precision to every formation, her classical training translating into a silent, flawless execution. Sana became the mood maker, her sun-drenched personality fueling variety show appearances that endeared the group to a global audience. Momo, meanwhile, was the dancing machine, reportedly learning entire choreographies in hours. But look at the line distribution charts from Cheer Up and TT. They were reliable and professional, yet rarely the main character. In 2016 and 2017, as TWICE became the nation's girl group, Mina, Sana, and Momo did what they were supposed to do. During these peak years, they learned how to be excellent in the margins, building a foundation so strong that when the spotlight finally shifted, they would be ready. By 2018, TWICE was a cultural reset. What is love? Dominated the airwaves, and the group was everywhere. But peak success brought peak scrutiny, and the Japanese line faced individual trials that would have broken lesser artists. For Momo, it came in the form of vocal criticism. Haters claiming, she can't sing, she's just a dancer. The kind of noise that follows you even when you're doing everything right. For Sana, it was cultural. On April 2019, she made a simple nostalgic post on Instagram regarding the transition from Japan's Heisei era to the Reiwa era. In Korea, it became a firestorm. She carried the weight of being a cultural bridge when the two sides don't want to meet. But she never let the controversy define her sunny disposition. For Mina, the battle was internal. On July 11, 2019, JYP Entertainment announced she would sit out the TWICE Lights World Tour due to extreme anxiety and insecurity about performing on stage. For months, she was gone. When she gradually returned in 2020, her members formed literal circles around her on stage, protecting her during performances. This is where MiSaMo's foundation was built. Not through easy success, but through surviving what would have broken others. As TWICE grew up, so did their sound. I Can't Stop Me introduced retro synth maturity, and by 2022, the group was secure enough to experiment. June 24, 2022 marked a turning point. Nayeon released I'm Nayeon, the group's first official solo debut. Chaeyoung releases solo tracks. Jihyo prepares her own album. TWICE was no longer a single uniform identity, but 9 women who trusted each other enough to diverge. This is what happens when a group is successful enough that individual exploration doesn't threaten the whole group. For the Japanese line, this meant the timing was finally right. They had spent 8 years building a reputation for professionalism and resilience, and they were ready for it. Here's what most people don't understand about TWICE's Japan strategy. From their Japan debut in 2017, TWICE established a clear identity, bright and energetic. One More Time was a sports concept. Candy Pop was literal candy-coated animation. Wake Me Up became a festival anthem, the kind of song that plays at summer events and everyone knows the choreography. This formula worked. Platinum certifications, record-breaking first-week sales, dome tours. TWICE became Japan's favorite K-pop group because they brought joy, command, and celebration. The perfect export of their Korean success. But in Japan, the brand was set. Festival queens. the group that makes you smile and dance along. This was the reality of brand consistency. When you build something as successful as Twice's Japan presence, you can't suddenly pivot without confusing your audience. So the question became, how do you expand without breaking what works? How do you give Japanese fans the mature, sophisticated sound they're craving as they grow older without destroying Twice's established identity? The plan was simple. Create a subunit. Let the three members who live that culture explore the lane the main group couldn't touch. The 25th of January, 2023. A track titled Bouquet is released as an insert song for the Japanese drama. Mina, Sana, and Momo. Just the three of them. Warm vocals, mellow tone, entirely in Japanese. Fans notice immediately. This doesn't sound like Twice's Japan releases. It is refined, mature, and something completely different. The 9th of February 2023. JYP Entertainment announces it officially. MiSaMo is debuting in July. The name itself was already theirs. They'd been calling themselves MiSaMo for years during V-Lives and behind-the-scenes content. But here's what matters about this moment. MiSaMo existed because Twice was strong enough to allow it. From a group so confident in their position that they could let three members explore a completely different artistic direction without fear. These three Japanese members just took what they'd earned, and they were about to show everyone exactly what years of patience and excellence looks like when it finally gets the spotlight. On July 26, 2023, Warner Music Japan releases Masterpiece. The lead single, Do Not Touch, introduces a sophisticated R&B sound with controlled sensuality. The lyrics, co-written by Park Jin-young and Mayu Wakasaka, use museum metaphors to discuss boundaries and consent, a mature lane Twice's Bright Festival brand couldn't touch. The choreography is restrained, sensual without being aggressive, power in stillness rather than explosive energy. The album is exceptional. Behind the Curtain opens with brass. Marshmello leans into chill hip-hop. Funny Valentine, It's Not Easy for You, and Rewind You were written by the members themselves. This isn't K-pop translated to Japanese. This is Japanese music, made by Japanese women for a Japanese audience. The response proves everything. Masterpiece debuts at #1 on the Oricon Albums chart with over 150,000 copies sold in the first week. Highest first-week sales for a female artist in 2023. Billboard Japan Hot Albums #1 with over 200,000 copies moved. By August, it's gold. By September, platinum. The showcase tour runs from July 22 to 27 across Osaka and Tokyo. 5 shows with 40,000 fans and over 600,000 applications for tickets. Completely insane. Here's what makes MiSaMo the best subunit Twice ever created. Momo, once targeted for her vocals, was now front and center, leading tracks like Marshmello that showcased her range without hiding. Mina's presence, the elegance that sometimes got lost in Twice's high-energy concepts, becomes the focal point. She leans into the sensuality, the grace, the kind of refined performance that her ballet background always prepared her for. That's what happens when an artist finally gets material that matches their capabilities. While Sana's maturity, something she had to hide behind variety show Aegyo for years, finally gets room to exist. The bright, playful persona was never fake, just not entirely her. The trio performs entirely in Japanese. No translations for Korean audiences. This is them at their most authentic self. For Japanese onces who grew up with Twice's bright festival energy, MiSaMo is an evolution. It's the mature sound they wanted. And for international fans who always knew these three were capable of more, it's proof. This is what the best looks like. Not loud or desperate, just undeniable. The 6th of November 2024. MiSaMo releases their second mini-album, Haute Couture, and the lead single, Identity, is assertive and commanding. The MV is fashion-forward, with high contrast and bold styling. The choreography, confidence doubled down. The album includes a cover of Nami Amoro's New Look, a direct tribute to J-pop legacy that peaked at number 8 on the Billboard Japan Hot 100. Jealousy explores darker emotions. The Mina solo Misty plays with hypnotic, whispered vocals set against minimal production. Every track demonstrates deliberate artistic choice, showcasing a subunit of experienced artists who have fully defined their own identity. Haute Couture debuts at number 2 on Billboard Japan with 130,000 copies in the first week. Gold certification by December and platinum by May 2025. The numbers prove it, but the impact goes deeper. The Dome Tour runs from the 2nd of November 2024 to the 16th of January 2025. They break the record for fastest Tokyo Dome concert by a female artist. 3 women who started as supporting members in 2015 just headlined Tokyo Dome with a sound that's completely their own. This is what the best looks like. Earned over 8 years, finally getting the stage they deserves. The 23rd of February, 2024. Twice releases with Youth. World tour continues. The group is thriving on a global scale. Simultaneously, MiSaMo is preparing for their next evolution. This is the genius of the subunit. No conflict and no competition. Twice maintains the festival commanding energy in Japan. The bright concepts, the celebratory sound, the identity that made them beloved. MiSaMo explores the mature, sophisticated lane, the sensual R&B and elegances, the refined performance style that Twice's core brand couldn't contain. They give Japanese fans who grew up with Twice the evolution they were craving. Both groups win. Neither threatens the other. This is strategic expansion done right. Twice is a group so secure in their identity that they can celebrate individual success without feeling threatened. This is what happens when excellence creates space for more excellence. When artists trust each other enough to let different flowers bloom in the same garden, MiSaMo proves that subunits don't weaken groups when they're done from a position of strength. They prove that the best expansions come from security, not desperation. So why is MiSaMo the best subunit Twice ever created? Start with the music. Every release is cohesive and intentional. No desperate attempts to go viral. Just exceptional production, mature themes, and performances that showcase years of skill. This is the work of artists who understand their craft completely. For Japanese onces, MiSaMo is the ultimate representation. 3 Japanese women performing in their native language with a sound that respects J-pop legacy while pushing it forward. For Twice as a whole, MiSaMo proves the group's range. They show that Twice's success isn't limited to one sound or concept, that the members are capable of excellence across multiple genres and styles. And for the K-pop industry, MiSaMo shows how legacy groups expand. The numbers back it up. 2 platinum albums, Tokyo Dome headliner, hundreds of thousands in attendance, and chart-topping releases. After 8 years, Mina, Sana, and Momo proved something essential. They proved that patience pays off and excellence compounds. That when you wait your turn and do the work, the spotlight finds you. And when it does, you're so ready that you make it look easy. On the 21st of November 2025, MiSaMo announces Play, their first full-length album. The teaser reads, "Your seat may not actually be in the audience. Reality ends here. It's your turn to take the stage." This is why MiSaMo is the best subunit Twice ever created. Because they took 8 years of experience, criticism, growth, and patience, and turned it into something undeniable. They filled a gap Twice's Japan brand couldn't reach, giving fans the mature, sophisticated sound they were craving. They proved that subunits can expand groups instead of fracturing them. They showed that excellence doesn't need to shout, it just needs to exist. Twice remains the festival commanding force in Japan, bright and energetic. MiSaMo exists as the refined, mature counterpart. sensual and sophisticated. Both thrive because both serve different needs. This is what the best looks like. Just three women who waited their turn, earned their moment, and proved they were worth every second of the wait. That's MiSaMo. That's excellence. And that's the best subunit twice ever created. MiSaMo dared to be bold. Will you?